Well, welcome everyone. Thank you very much to this special edition of the Al Heron Talks podcast. We have a very special guest here today. I'm so impressed with this young lady and all that she has accomplished in just really 4 years in real estate. It's amazing what she is doing, and she's going to share that story with us. And I think most of you will be just extremely impressed and inspired. One of the things we like to do with this particular podcast is we want to entertain, educate, and encourage. And so I think with our guest today, we'll be able to do a little bit of all of that. Benita is not here today. She ended up having a bit of a family situation she had to go take care of, but she's all good. So we'll be doing it without Benita on this particular episode. But let me first welcome our guest, Miss Nancy Garcia. Yes. Of Monument Realty and her company, CYTY
Real Estate.
CYTY Real Estate, and it's spelled CYTY.
CYTY, yes.
Right, and there's a very interesting story behind the origins of CYTY Real Estate, which started long before she was even in real estate. So yes. we'll talk about that in just a minute. But Nancy, I want to start here. I like people to kind of get to know our guest, kind of on a personal level, not just, right into the business just yet. But if you are, when you're moving around town, because I see that you log a lot of miles, showing clients and meeting clients and all this stuff. What do you listen to? What's on your playlist?
Well, people ask me that, but I'm on the phone the whole time that I'm driving.
Really?
I'm literally always on the phone. Clients are calling me, and that's the time that I get to talk to people on the phone. Because I get to the office and I start getting busy, people come in. So when I'm driving, I try to make all my calls. But I have my Bluetooth. I'm not just holding my phone. Sure. I have my Bluetooth. So I really don't listen to music a lot because of, just being on the phone. I was just telling someone a story that happened to me. I was on my way to a walkthrough and I was already running late. And I saw my gas tank. I'm like, I need to go pump gas. But I'm on the phone the whole time. So I get there and I'm trying to put my card and it's not working. So I have to go inside. I go inside and I pay. I get back in my car and I go straight to the walkthrough. When we get out, I'm trying to turn on my car and it's not turning on. Well, I never pumped gas. No. So I just went, paid, and it
just left.
And it was so embarrassing because then my client had to help me, get gas.
That was a bonding moment. And so you and your client got to bond over you.
It was just so embarrassing. I'm like, is my car not working? It better work. I just purchased it, but I didn't pump gas. I mean, it's just, I get so busy with calls. My phone rings all day, every day. Like I have to charge it 2 to 3 times a day because
2 or 3 times a day. Yeah, that I can imagine. And with the amount of work that you do and the volume that you do, I'm sure you're getting a bunch of calls like that. So you don't listen to anything. You just spend that time talking to
and
clients.
If I put it's just the radio, whatever it's on. Like if I have some time, but it's usually I'm on the phone the whole time. And I don't have a driver. Like I have to drive myself. So. I just,
like your good friend Connie and her.
I know. I tell her she's so lucky because she has her husband. I would be doing so much too if I had somebody drive me. I actually told my dad if he wanted to be my driver. He said no. No, thank you.
He passed. He was like, "That's okay."
My 18-year-old. I have an 18-year-old. I told him, you know what? You're gonna in the summer. You're gonna drive me. And the first time I took him, he takes me to the house and I go in with my clients. I come out. He's gone. I said, Giovanni, we have a schedule. We have to go. Right. So I call him. He's like, oh, I'm eating at the gas station. I'm like, you can't do that.
Yeah, you probably needed to have a little meeting first to kind of talk about it. And I'm like,
you know what? You're fired. I'm not. My clients had to wait for me because he was 15-minute gas station out there. And I'm like, no.
He was like, I was going to give y'all plenty of time and be back in time. We'll go to the next one.
He's like, I don't know how this works. I thought you were going to stay there for like an hour. I'm like, no.
Funny stuff. And so the thing that I found so interesting about you is because your level of production would have someone who didn't know any better think that you've been doing this for a decade or more, right? Yeah. And then when I talked to you and trying to get your background and all this stuff, I was like, wait a minute, you just started, you're 4 years into this, and what you've done is amazing. And so I wanted to kind of figure out, what got you into it, how did you get here? And so, but you were telling me that you are not originally from the United States, that you came here when you were...
I was 7 years old. I'm from Monterrey, Mexico.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
And we came here when I was 7. We used to come to the United States every summer. My dad used to bring us every summer, to spend our vacation here because all our family was here.
Gotcha.
So we used to come every summer, but there was a summer that he said, you know what, we're staying here.
Okay.
Because all our family was here.
Gotcha.
And we only had one family member that lived over there with us. So, and, I come from a private school over there, nothing but girls, uniform. So I come here and it's like completely different. I had, no English at all, 0.
Okay.
And I was actually in 3rd grade.
3rd grade.
Yeah,
okay.
3rd
And you all
grade.
moved to
Garland, Texas.
Garland, Texas.
Yes,
Okay.
That's where my family
And so
was from.
you're in 3rd grade, Garland, Texas,
Yes.
don't know English.
Nothing.
Tell me about that experience.
I mean, at first it was really frustrating because I didn't understand anything, and I would cry because I would tell my parents, why did y'all do this to me? I was, I already had all my friends over there with, in my private school. It was actually a Catholic school.
Okay.
And it was all girls. I was not used to being with boys.
Right.
But, after the first year, it got easier, and I was an ESL student.
Okay. So how long did it take you because I'm always amazed at how quickly, and especially the younger
Yes, I think
a
the
person
younger.
is, they can learn much faster, or at least get acclimated to the changes much faster and easier than someone that's a little older.
I think starting 5th grade, so 2 years, I was already, fully, learned. But I was still an ESL student until I graduated.
Gotcha. And so you were in, is that Garland Public School? Or
Garland High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started in Lyles Middle School.
Okay.
And then, elementary school.
Okay.
And Herforth Elementary School, and then I went to Lyles.
Okay.
And then Garland High
In
School.
the Garland High School. Okay.
Yes.
And then what kind of student were you? Were you
I was a nerd.
okay?
My friends, they always ask me, like, they were always, having fun. They'll skip school. And I was always so scared of my parents.
Gotcha.
So I didn't like school. I hated school. I wanted to graduate and get it over with.
So why did you hate school, though? You don't strike me as somebody who would just hate school.
I don't know. I was just not into school. I mean, I liked it to be there with friends and stuff, but the whole, math was horrible. I hated math. But I graduated.
Right.
And you would think she was an accountant.
Right.
No, I did not like math at all.
That is funny. So, and with your personality too, it would seem to me that you would really enjoy school because you seem like such an extrovert, and that you would have liked hanging with friends and stuff like that. But it was the classroom stuff that you.
Yeah, I'm not organized at all.
Okay.
I'm that realtor.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that part in a minute, because that's I'm always amazed. There's so many different personality types, different organizational styles of people who do this really well, and so you can't necessarily kind of stereotype. Okay, here's a successful agent, because they all have their own different. Right. Okay, so then you graduate high school, and then what do you do?
So I started working for Metro PCS. It's a cell phone store, and that was my first job. And I didn't interview anyone. My cousin worked there, so she told me, "Hey, they're hiring someone. Come work here." And it was literally down the street from my parents' house.
Okay.
So I started working there. 6 months after that, I became the manager for the store because I was doing so good.
So let's talk about that, because I think that's where you realize, hey, I'm pretty good at this sales thing.
Salesperson.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're there, and they're hired. You were hired to be just a kind of a floor salesperson to sell products, phones, and accessories.
So they started noticing, after a month. I mean, I was already like almost at the top, selling accessories, phones. I just came up with different ideas on how to sell, because we had, every quarter they will do like an appreciation to whoever sold the most. And I'm really competitive.
Okay.
Very, very competitive. So I always wanted to be number one.
Okay.
So I made sure I did bundles. I'll tell the people that will come, do their phone bill. I was like, hey, right now we have a bundle. You can pay your phone and we'll give you 10% off the Bluetooth charger. And that's how I started selling so much. And now
were the bundles already set up? You created the bundle thing.
And you know how extra I am, and I'm creative. So I will go and buy like wrapping paper and put the stuff like on there and made it seem like a little gift.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And my boss was just so impressed with me. He's like, how do you come up with these ideas, you know?
And so they just kind of let you run with it. Just do it.
Yeah. And
that's really cool. And so you identified early, and then we joked about this, that you're extra. When we say extra, I don't mean extra in a bad way. I mean, but you go big. You don't stay small, right? Yeah. And you put yourself out there, and you go big. Mm-hmm. And so even with something as simple as that, and you're only 17, and at this store, and now you're very competitive, and you want to do well, and you're selling this stuff, and you realize, hey, if I bundle this stuff up and give a bit of a discount here, and then I package it a certain way,
I will act like they were getting a discount, but they really weren't.
Right.
Because I was not allowed to give discounts.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
but
so I had to figure out a way how to do it.
Gotcha. You had to mix and match it.
If you purchase all 3, you'll get it for a better price. So
right.
That was my...
And then you also gave them the presentation of this nice little bundle.
Yeah.
Wow. And so then quickly, in 6 months, then
I was managing about 7 stores at that time because they wanted me to go teach the other stores how to sell.
Right.
You know, more accessories, more phones. So I was managing all 7 stores, and they were all at the top.
Wow. And so are the 7 stores, were they relatively close together, or were they all over the place?
Everywhere.
Okay, so you're traveling all over the place.
Yeah, I was traveling. And then they made me, before they used to just go drop off all the accessories and stuff. And then they saw how much I was selling, and I would tell them, hey, bring me this kind. This sells more. And then they were like, you know what? You go.
Okay.
So I used to drive to Harry Hines and go pick up all accessories for all stores. I mean, I liked it. It was a good job. I was making very good money for my age.
I would imagine. Yeah, a 17-year-old doing all that. Yeah. And okay, wow.
Very good money.
And this is what year? What are we talking about? 19? I mean, not 19. 2000.
Yeah, it was like 2007.
Okay, 2007.
Yeah.
Okay, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
You running? I mean, you the queen of Metro PCS.
I was the queen of Metro PCS.
And so how long do you do that?
I was there for about 4.5 years, but I decided I just wanted an 8 to 5 job. You know, I was working every day. There was times they would call me at 4 a.m. Hey, somebody broke in the store. You need to come. So, you know, I got a little bit tired of that, and I was very young at the time too.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to enjoy my weekends, and I just wanted an all my friends had an 8 to 5 job, and on the weekends they would go out, and I couldn't.
Right.
You know, I could not take weekends off. Which, I mean, now I'm the same, but
right.
You know, back then I was younger.
Sure, you were young. You want to be able to enjoy the weekend, and you were making a nice little piece of change too. And so you want to enjoy that. And so, what do you move to from that? So I know you were kind of tired and needed to do something else. I'm sure that they wanted desperately to keep you. So how did that conversation even go? I'm sure they were ready to roll out the red carpet, do whatever they needed to keep you around.
And they did. They tried, but I told them, I mean, I couldn't. I told myself, I know they're going to tell you, they're going to give you more, and don't do it, you know. And they were very sad, which, I mean, I still have some of them on my social media, and they're like, oh, you're doing so well.
Sure.
We knew you were going to do well. It's like anywhere you went, you were going to do, especially in sales, because they saw how good I was in sales.
Right. And so when you're thinking about that and wanting to kind of slow down from there, did you think that, hey, I want to continue to do something in sales, or were you just...
I didn't.
Okay.
No, I actually wanted, you know, like I said, just the 8 to 5 job, like, you know, office job, just receptionist or something. I just didn't know what I wanted at the time. But I was making a lot of money. I knew that I was going to go from making a lot of money to less. Okay,
so you knew that. So you were prepared to do that.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
And you saved a lot of money.
Yeah,
I did save a lot
of money.
Right.
So I wanted to take like 2 to 3 months off before I started working somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a very nice luxury to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But you really didn't do that.
No. The week after I quit, my aunt calls me and she's like, hey, they have a receptionist job here at the office that I work with. And, you know, I go to the interview, and I had never been to an interview. I didn't know anything, and I didn't know how much people paid. I mean, I knew I was making a lot of money, but I didn't know what office jobs paid or anything like that. So when my ex-boss asked me, he's like, so how much do you want to make? I just said, I don't know, whatever you want to pay me. So he said that made him hire me. Yeah,
I'm sure he was very happy. He wanted to do it right then. You're hired, right?
Yeah.
Well, cool. And so you go to this, and what kind of company is this?
This was a landscape company.
Okay.
It's Turfscapes in Rockwall.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you get there, and quickly they see, you more capable than just being the receptionist. We want a lot more.
Yes.
And in particular, the accountant took interest in you, very
Yes.
impressed with you, and wanted to.
Teach me everything because she knew she was going to leave the company in a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, you know what, Nancy, I'm teaching you everything. You're going to take over my job
Okay.
whenever I leave. And you don't have to go to school. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. I mean, I did take some courses, you
Sure.
know, had to learn how to use QuickBooks and all of that
Uh-huh.
stuff. But I learned everything from her. Her name was Ellen. I remember Ellen.
Okay.
Gosh, she was
Okay.
very, very nice to me.
And so Ellen got you hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start doing this. The boss is taking notice and very
Mm-hmm.
impressed with you. And then you kind of move into more of a quasi executive assistant type
Yeah.
accountant. Just you were kind of like the
Yeah.
right hand person.
So when I started, there was 4 of us.
Okay.
Accountant, somebody that did the invoices, and then there was another person there. I can't think of what he did, but at the end, it was just me doing everything.
Okay.
Because I took over all their jobs. You know, they left, and I took over everything, and I started, you know, doing everything for
Sure.
him,
Okay.
and it was just me.
Okay. And the company's doing really well. You're doing really well in your position there. And then, and you ended up there all total. What you said, 12 years?
12 years. Yes.
Okay. Wow. That's a nice run.
Yes.
And so the boss comes to you because he's decided he wants to start building,
Yes.
kind of developing things, and not just building little stuff. He's building
Oh.
million dollar homes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But he has this idea that he wants you to be the real estate person.
Yes.
And that created a bit of a dilemma because you needed to go get a real estate license.
Yes. And when he told me, I'm like, oh, I have to go to school again and, you know, do this. But, you know, I told him, yes, let's do it.
Yeah, you said you also had a little more motivation when you realized you did the calculations on.
Oh, yeah. When he told me, you know, how much we were going to list the first house, I'm
Right.
like, oh, and I started, you know, researching how much does a real estate agent make because I had no idea.
Right.
And when I made the calculations, I'm like, oh, wow, yes, I definitely want to do it. And I had a timeline. I had to finish the school in a month.
Right, because it was based on he had a house he
A
was
spec
building.
home that he was
And it was
about
gonna be
to finish
done?
in a
Yeah.
month. And he told me, he's like, if you don't get your license by then, I'm going to have to give it to another realtor until you get your license. I'm like, no, I'm not allowing that. I'm going to list this house.
Okay.
So I called my sister.
Okay. And you called your sister because you like to do things
Together.
You like group projects. And so
Yes.
she joined you. Y'all did the classes.
Mm-hmm.
You knocked the classes out. You were a little nervous about the test because everybody's telling you how hard it was, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But
But
you
I
not
did pass it the first time.
pass it the first time. And
Yes.
and I think, too, I do believe the competitiveness that you, and I've witnessed it, too. I know you're competitive. and competitive in a good way. But
Yeah.
I think you challenged yourself. You took on a challenge, and the end goal for that to be successful was for you to pass that test and become a real estate agent.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
of course, you were going to pass.
And just to tell you how competitive I am, before I did real estate, I was really fit. You know, I was doing 5Ks, I would run, I would work out. And I can run you a mile in the treadmill about 9 minutes. You know,
Okay.
it's normal. But when I would do this 5Ks or 10Ks, I wanted to be number 1. I didn't care how fast I had to go. I didn't like to see people in front of me.
Okay.
I like to see him behind me. So I remember there was a professional runner there.
Okay.
And I could not keep up. And I was trying, and I finally beat him. And I
Really?
ran the mile in 6.2 minutes. And I won. That's how competitive I am.
Man, okay.
I couldn't walk after. It was crazy.
Yeah, how long did it take you to recover from that? From trying to
It was crazy.
outdo a
I'm
professional.
like almost died, but I did it, and I was very proud of myself.
You're very proud of you. You should have been.
Yes.
So then you get your license and you get your very first listing.
Yes.
Is this $1 million property,
Yes.
and that really is how all of this gets started. But before then, you were telling me that you said your sister, how many siblings do you have?
I have 4 siblings. So,
Okay.
I mean, 3 and 4 with me.
Sure.
So I have an older sister, which is CYTY Garcia.
Okay.
And then it's me. And then I have another sister under me, which is Veronica, and then a brother, just one brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you and your sister, as you were taking the real estate classes, had already mapped out this real estate group you were going to have. Y'all were going to do this as a group, and y'all
As
was
a sisters
a
group.
sisters group, right?
Yes.
I mean, you don't have a license yet, but you've already planned this out, and so you even had the name. So what was the name again?
CYTY Real Estate, but City with the Y because
Right.
you know my name is Nancy, ends with CY, and Kathy TY. So we put it together, and that's how CYTY Real Estate.
CYTY.
YTY.
CYTY Real Estate. And so CYTY Real Estate is born out of y'all's conversations and dreams and all this stuff. And so you get started, and you start with United
Real Estate.
Okay,
Yes.
United Real Estate. and you're there, and tell me what does real estate look like? You got your first listing, but then what else are you doing? Because you get going really fast.
Yeah, so I got my first listing. You know, I'm a big social media person. Even before real estate, you know, I'm a big social media person. So I will post a lot about the homes that he was building, because he had that spec, but he was also building more and more. But at one point, my friends were reaching out to me and they said, hey, you know, we didn't hire you because we thought you only did luxury listings. I'm like, no, I do everything.
Right.
So I couldn't wait until I got my first client that, you know, because I was just doing the seller side, you know, the listing side. And my cousin reached out to me and she said, hey, I'm ready to purchase a home. I was like, perfect.
Right.
So that was my first, you know, buyer was my cousin. And after that, you know, they saw that I did regular homes as well. So that's how I kept. From there, it went off.
Okay, so let's do this too, because I think this is very important. Because you started 2019,
the end of 2019.
End of 2019. So end of 2019, we're also moving into COVID.
Yes.
Right, but it didn't seem like it messed you up, because I think you had already decided and knew that your way in this business was going to be through social media.
Yes.
And you were already plotting, planning, and strategically using social media in a way that others, I mean, people did, but not to that extent. They didn't go big like you. Again, that's going to be the theme of y'all. So, you know, Marcella, when we're looking for the title for Nancy, it's going to be go big, right? Or extra. But so you decided, hey, no, I'm going to document what I'm doing. I'm going to promote this stuff in such a way that people recognize, hey, okay, no, this is Nancy Garcia, and this is who ultimately I would like to use as a real estate agent. So tell me about so it was a conscious effort, right? You knew social media is what you needed to do.
Oh, yes. Once I started seeing how much people were reaching out to me through social media, every time I will post, you know, because I was out there still doing open houses every weekend. You know, when I started, I would do open houses, but I will post every single time. And I realized that worked, because every time I post, somebody will message me or contact me from social media. And after that, you know, it's referrals, but a lot of it comes from social media.
Right. I think what it did, too, is made you top of mind. So the problem a lot of people have, and I've said this to many agents who are starting out, and agents will come in and they want to go look for business. They say, I'm going to go find business. I need these leads and all this stuff. And they neglect the people right there at them, their friends, their family, the people who know who they are, co-workers.
Yes.
They don't contact them. And in fact, if most agents picked up their phone, this wouldn't happen to you, of course, because you all your people know. But most agents, if they picked up the phone and randomly called everybody in their phone and asked them this simple question, have you or someone you've known been in a real estate transaction within the last 12 months? Their feelings are going to be hurt, because so many of them are going to say, oh, yeah, I did. Well, my mom did, my cousin. And they're like, well, dang, you didn't use me. Well, and they did not use you because it's you. It's just you weren't there. You weren't top of mind. And what social media allows is for you to remain top of mind. Yes. Right. And the way you do social media is even better, because it's not just the houses and stuff. It's your life, too.
I do it personal and business.
Right. And so they get to see both. They see you working hard. You play hard, too. I mean, you play hard, too. And they get to see all of it, which gives a more complete picture of the brand of Nancy Garcia, right? So that's the other thing, too. If an agent is really just dependent on a house to help somebody make a decision, that's not, the person really needs to be making the decision on, who do I want to help me do this?
Yes.
And you've got that down.
I feel like people want to know the real you.
Without that.
So I post all my personal life and business. You don't want to bore them by just posting houses. You know, you want to also show them your personal lifestyle.
Yeah.
And my lifestyle's pretty.
It's pretty extra, right? In fact, this is going to be a good point right here. So I noticed, and y'all, I worked on this already. I got my invite. So I got an invite. So Angela, my wife, know we got invites. We get to go to Nancella 2023. So Nancella 2022, I saw a video of that. I was like, God, this looks like Coachella. I'm like, it's,
I had the fake one, but
yeah. I'm like, so tell me about that. So here's what Nancy understands, that part of this and part of making sure that you stand out and that people don't forget you, and that when they actually need you for real estate, you're top of mind, because she also has figured out how to create experiences and encounters that really ingrain her and the image of her in the minds of these people, so they can't forget. So when real estate comes up, immediately, that's what I'm thinking of, right? And so tell me, how did Nancella 2022 come about?
So,
what it is for everybody.
Yes. So I was sitting with my accountant, and she tells me, you need expenses, how can we do it, to get more expenses? And she told me a client appreciation event. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. But also my birthday's coming up. I can do it, a client appreciation birthday, and invite my friends, family, clients, and let's make it big.
Right.
I'm like, what's my budget?
Right.
How much do I save spending this much? So
right.
That's why I went big, because I
Gotcha.
needed expenses.
Sure.
But I had been to Coachella the year before, and I loved it. I got to tell you, I'm extra, and I love dressing up. It's not for the music, really. It's more dressing up and seeing everybody's outfits, and I just love the whole vibe. I mean, I loved it, and I said, you know what? My next party is going to be, I always have a theme for parties.
Okay.
Not just for myself, but like for my kids. If you see their parties before, you'll be like, wow.
Right.
Like they always have a big theme, and I go out. Like everybody wants to go to my parties because they know I'm extra and I make them big.
Because quite honestly, if you weren't doing real estate and you could do anything else, it would be
party planning.
Party planning.
Yes, and I will probably do that when I retire.
Okay. Well, and so it shows in how you do events and everything. So I didn't mean to interrupt you on that. I just wanted to bring up that point, because we were talking the other day, is that if we're talking about people going to the NBA. I think that was the example we were using. We were saying that, people graduate from high school, go play ball in college, and then just only a handful of them ultimately make it to the National Basketball Association. But they don't all make it because they're all just good at everything in basketball. No, the ones who really succeed are the ones who are at least great at one aspect of this. They got to be good in the other areas, but they got to be great somewhere. And what you are great at, you're great at several things, which is unusual, right? And you're really good at everything, of course, but great in certain aspects. And you're great at putting on an event, and you're great at making sure that that event or whatever it is that you're associated is properly promoted, right? And by being great in those things, it just takes you to a whole nother level, to where in real estate, agents do this all the time. Agents make you better. Agents make a Nancy Garcia better, because the public looks at them all the same, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, because everything we do looks like what everybody else does. So if we get a Nancy Garcia who likes to go big, who likes to be extra, she gains market share because everybody else looks the same. Yes. Right? Everybody's closing looks the same. Everybody's holding the same big wooden cardboard key saying Mom.
I don't have one.
Yeah, I know you don't. Of course you don't. My agent rocks and all that, because it's all the same. And so if I'm scrolling through, everybody looks the same. Yes. But when I get to you, it's different. It's something different. Yeah. And in fact, when I'm just sitting there randomly scrolling and I see you pop up, I'm going to look to see what this is about, because it's going to be extra.
And different. I like to be different.
And different is the differentiator. Different allows you to close 95 transactions on your own, acquire and build a team of 28 agents, who together you close 103 million. 103 million last year. Yes. Right? So if anybody listening to this and you're trying to still figure out, okay, how do I do this real estate thing? First of all, be extra.
Extra and different.
Extra and different. So Nancy, you trying to so Nancy trying to make sure I understand. You can be extra, but if you're not different,
you don't want to copy what others are doing.
Exactly. You want to kind of
come up with your own ideas.
Absolutely. So back to Nanchella 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you do that. What are you thinking behind it? Because it's more than just the presentation and the fun and all that stuff. You had also other goals behind that.
Oh, yeah.
There's things you're trying to accomplish with this.
Yeah, so I wanted to invite, like I said, my clients, friends, but also realtors. I wanted to, networking is so big. And it actually worked out because this year I'm working with agents that were at my party. And, they accepted my offer because they knew who I was because Nanchella last year, you know. So I tried to invite as many realtors that I could and, made it big. I think we had about 300 people.
Wow.
Which the next day I was just thinking, I was like, did I really bring 300 people to this party? And I didn't start advertising it until I think it was July 16th. I didn't send the invite and I think it was July 1st when I sent the invite.
Really? Mm-hmm. But you planned it well. So your planning was well in advance. Yes. So at least how long were you saying?
About 2 months.
2 months of planning. Yes. So that you
But I'm also busy at the same time.
Sure.
So I had, sometimes I'll be sleeping at 4 a.m. because I'm trying to figure out, because I like to draw. And if I show you the drawings of where I wanted everything and try to make it look as nice as I can. And like I was telling you, the owner of the place was there. He's like, oh, you're really here doing everything. And I said, yeah, it's because I don't trust somebody to do it. They won't do it the same.
Right.
So I was there all day. I was so tired. I mean, it took me about 2 weeks to recover from Nanchella.
I can imagine.
I mean, it was a lot of work.
So what happens? What happens at Nanchella? What was the experience? So somebody goes to Nanchella. What all?
I think the nicest thing was the fireworks show.
Okay.
I had fireworks. Everybody was so surprised. They didn't think there was going to be fireworks, and out of nowhere,
if we got fireworks
just started coming in. The music. I mean, everybody just had so much fun. It was amazing. Everybody was telling me, I can't wait for Nanchella number 2.
Oh, sure. So your music? Did you have a DJ? You have a band?
I had a DJs, and then I had the whole big screen, the sound. I mean, everything you can think of. I even had churro. Do you know what churros are?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I know.
So
you can't tell I know what churros are when you see. When you get to this size, you know what churros are.
Yeah.
Right.
So I had a truck come in at midnight with churros, and everybody was getting that.
Man.
I mean, it was really, really amazing. I mean, by the end of the day, I think we finished around 3 a.m.
3. What time did it start?
It started at 7.
Okay.
It started at 7, but I was there since the day before,
getting
up
ready.
And when it started, I was already tired. Because I was there because I like to do things on my own because I feel like they just don't get done the right way.
Okay. And y'all finished at 3 a.m. And so all the people who came, and these were invites, so it's not like people could buy a ticket and all that kind of stuff.
No,
so for it to be invitation only, that I believe even added more value to the invitation.
Oh, yes.
And so then those who came, there's a certain feel like, oh, yeah, Nancy invited me to come to this. And then they got there and had a great time.
Yeah.
And they want to come back. So the deal is, I want to make sure when I know somebody needs to buy or sell a house, I need to make sure Nancy, I want to stay on the list. I want to stay in the mix. Yeah. And so I think that's amazing.
And the people that missed it because something came up, they couldn't go. They were like, I can't believe I missed it. And after seeing all the pictures, videos, and they were like, I'm not missing it the next year.
Absolutely.
I promise. Yeah.
So the other thing, when we're talking about the greatness of Nancy Garcia, so the other thing you did was you document things so well. And so even the video of it. So I saw the video of last year's.
Yes.
And I didn't notice, I didn't really pay attention that it was 2022. I thought it was this year. I was I didn't get I don't know Nancy yet like that, but I didn't get an invite to. And then I saw it was 2022. Benita was the one that says, oh, it's last year. She hadn't done it yet. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, we got time. Maybe we can get an invite.
Yes, of
course. But so it was cool, and so everybody got to see it again, helping to enhance the brand of Nancy Garcia and also CYTY Real Estate, and again keeping you top of mind. Also, what it lets someone know. So if I'm trying to select a real estate agent to sell my house. And everybody else is kind of looking the same, but I come across the stuff that Nancy does, and it's all extra, and it's all big. I know if you can pull something off like that, you can sell my house, and you can sell it at the highest price in the quickest time, right?
And I don't have as much followers. I mean, I only have about 7,000, but
Yeah, you're 7,000. But that's but it's 7,000 real followers.
Oh yes, real.
Right.
I
So
will not do fake. Yeah.
Correct. So, in other words, you still have 7,000 people that you're getting content to. And here's what we found. For every 24 people that you have in an active database, and social media is an active database if you're engaging with it. So for every 24 people in that deal, you really should be able to get 1 transaction for every 24.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's that 2,400 is 100 transactions. So it might be skewed a little bit on social media because it's not quite the same, but still you have a big enough group to get you, 95 transactions by yourself. And then what was it all together? Your whole group did how many transactions?
Like 320 transactions.
320 transactions, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. When they told me the numbers, I'm like, did we really do that much? I was so proud of everyone.
You should be.
Yeah. I mean, just getting all these awards at Monument because, when I moved to Monument, I'm like, because I was their top producer at CYTY Real Estate. I was number 1. And I thought to myself, being as competitive as I am, I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to go to this big brokerage. I'm not going to be number 1, but it's okay. I didn't think I was going to be number 1 here. And I think I was the only one that got 3 awards that day. For myself, for my team, and my production.
Yeah. And of course. And so here's the deal. And a lot of people, and it's funny, so Monument has really attracted really big producers here recently. And so, and all of you are the same in that you all are very competitive. And you looked at the numbers. So you looked at the numbers. You were kind of like, okay, this is what I did. Yeah. When Tanisha Lusk was on here, she was saying the exact same thing. She paid attention. She studied, where are they? Who's the top producers? All that. Connie's very competitive. And you brought Connie here.
Connie, yes.
Yeah. And so some people would think as competitive as you are, they would say, okay, so you brought Connie over and you're going to have to compete with her.
Yeah.
And but you're like, no, I compete with myself. I'm trying to better me.
I compete with myself. Every year I set a goal. I'm going to do double or triple, I always set a goal. And Connie was actually asking me, do you keep up with your transactions? I'm like, no, I do not do that because then I'll be counting every month. Okay, how many do I need to do now? So I don't keep up. The end of the year, that's when I start calculating all the transactions. It has worked. I mean, every year I double it.
Gotcha.
I think probably triple it, hopefully, this year.
So when you got started at CYTY, other than your former boss who was giving you the big listings, do you remember what your transaction count was in year 1?
I think the first year I did I think it was like 22 transactions.
22 transactions, which is very good for year 1.
Yeah.
person.
And I first started just with the builder, so specs take long.
Yeah,
so it was only like, I sold one month and then 4 months later I sold another one. Then at the end, that's when I started selling,
to your sphere of influence,
yes.
right?
And I've never done a lead in my life.
Okay, yeah. Now that's okay. Very good point there. So, and we're not anti-leads, of course.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm not saying you are. Yeah, I know you're not saying that. So leads are good when people want them. But here's the thing: a sustainable business is not built on leads. It never has been. Not leads like that where you're buying leads and that kind of thing. A sustainable business is built on leads that are developed from a pipeline that you create. Yes. And so that's what you do. The way you do your events, the way you publicize and use social media, you create a pipeline that sends you leads. So you don't have to.
Those are my leads.
That's your leads, right? And that's the way a business is supposed to work. And that's why you're so successful at it.
Well, one thing I forgot to mention, I think the way I started too is I have a really good friend. Her name is Melanie.
Okay.
And she's actually an influencer.
Okay.
Her name on Instagram is Crazy Melly. So I've been knowing Melanie for years, Okay. And, my competitive side, I said, okay, I need to do something different. I'm in real estate now. How do I get more people? I don't want to just be selling this $1 million homes. I want to be able to sell more. So I started talking. And she got big on social media, on Instagram, because she would do a lot of like Target deals and stuff like that. So she has about 40,000 followers.
Okay.
But they're all in the DFW area.
Oh, wow.
Not like followers from all over the world. They're all, in the DFW. So I started thinking about it and I had a talk with her. I said, hey, how about we start doing lives and start promoting me and, I'll pay you. We'll do this. So we started doing lives and that has kept me busy.
Really?
For the longest. And, and I tell other agents, don't just go look for whichever, influencer, because a lot of influencers, yes, they have a lot of followers, but they're all over the world.
Right.
And, you know, you
Right.
have to have someone that has followers.
Access
in
and
the
reach
DFW.
right here. Right.
Yes. And her clients, you know, her followers are all like in the Hispanic area. And we started doing lives. She started promoting me. And I mean, I've been doing lives with her ever since I started.
Wow.
You know?
And so how frequently are y'all doing it? Is it like a monthly thing? Or?
Now we do them, you know, once a month, or we'll, you know, sometimes we'll take a break of like 2 months, but, you know, she'll constantly post Joella and I. So that's how Joella and I started growing our followers too.
Right.
You know, she has about 6,000. I have around 7,000, but we started, I think my following was like 1,200.
Okay.
And ever since I started doing, you know, the live videos and having Melanie promote me, I started getting more and more and more followers. And we do a lot of events. I don't know if you've seen, but
Yeah. No. The events and we have a program that we operate out of the Arlington office called Operation 630. And so it is basically showing agents how to build out a business based on creating these pipelines and getting those leads coming from the pipelines they've created. And one of the aspects of it is to host events on a regular basis, right? And again, you know, some people will do it, some people no, but none of them go as big or as extra as you do. The deal is every weekend there's a home buyer seminar in DFW. There's a bunch of them, right? So if you decide that you're going to have something that's going to give out information, same thing they're going to get out of a home buyer seminar everywhere else. If I come to Nancy and say, Nancy, let's do a home buyer seminar, I imagine immediately you're going to tell me, hey, first of all, we're not going to call it that. No. And we're going to do something a little bit different. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yes. We try to do it every, you know, holiday. Like we do Valentine's event, you know. It's for Valentine's. It's a home buyers event, but we don't call it that.
Sure.
We can, you know, I'll do the whole banner with hearts and invite everyone to have, you know, to come in, and, you know, it attracts a lot of people. You know, we do like the Easter egg hunt that we did.
I saw that. That was big.
We did $1,000 in one Easter egg hunt. So all the clients came and to find that $1,000 egg catch, you know. Right. So I just come up with a lot of ideas that I know it's going to bring people in. Because if you just call it a home buyers seminar, you know, everybody knows about that. And there's so many. So you have to be different and think outside the box.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And now that I have Joella, you know, we partner up and we do this event. And then Crazy Melly, she promotes them. Right. And that's how we get so many people to come in and, you know.
Well, part of, I mean, that's how you got started. You didn't even, you like partnerships, you like alliances, you like doing things together because you seem to know or knew from early on that together you're stronger. If you're able to align yourself with the right people, you're able to do bigger things than just by yourself. And so just as you and your sister were in that real estate class together and y'all were already talking about this sisters group, you already knew. It was like, and so now you kind of have that, you built that sisters group. You got a 28 agent network. You've built a sisters group in that partnership. You know, like you and Joella appear to be like sisters every time I look up. And Joella, again, is another, you know, Joella is a
workaholic too.
Man, she's something else, right? And I've known about Joella for years. I knew about Joella long before Joella knew I knew who she was, because there were agents in an office where I was before who used to always talk about how great she is. That, hey, Joella will figure out how to get it done. Oh yeah. If something's falling apart, hey, call Joella. She'll figure it out. And so for you to align yourself with somebody like that, such a great lending partner, and then such an influencer in what's her name? Crazy
Melly.
Crazy Melly.
Because she's crazy.
Okay, so she is crazy. Okay, so which means she's also extra.
Yes, she's extra.
And there's a lot of extra in Joella too.
Yes,
so that, and we know you extra. So that is a very extra.
But you need to meet my sister.
Okay, that's right. You told me she's the most extra.
That's where I got her from.
Okay.
She's the extra.
Well, then all of that extraness allows you to go bigger than other folks. And I think that that really is what differentiates your business and your level of success, I think, from others. And the fact that you don't mind so when you started doing the social media stuff, how did you, was it professionally done, or were you just using your
Oh,
camera?
no,
Or how do you even to this day?
To
What
this
do you
day,
do?
we use our phones.
Okay.
And I said to myself, I don't just want to talk about myself
Uh-huh.
because people want to know more about the lending side too. So that's why, we started with Joella coming in and we will do lives together. And the times that work the most is I will call Joella and I said, you know what? Tomorrow's freezing. Nobody's going to work. Everybody's going to be home. Let's do it. The day we had the freeze, we did a live and I called her the day before and I'm like, let's do it because I know nobody's going to be working.
Right.
They're going to be home. We got about 45 leads
Just from that.
live.
And so how long is the live normally? When y'all do a live, y'all?
It's usually an hour, but
Okay.
that live lasted almost 2 hours.
Okay,
there
'cause
was
you
just
have
people asking and asking.
question,
And
right. Because you had a captive audience just there. They didn't have anything else to do.
yeah,
So.
and then I told my girls and my team, I'm like, hey, you see this work for me. I like to share to everyone. If it works for me, it's gonna work for you. You just have to do it. And I always tell them too, it's not the same about posting a flyer. It's better if you talk in the camera. They want to see you. That's how you're gonna get more people to interact with you.
That.
Yeah.
It creates more of it's one of the things that was really good when I came to Monument, and one of the things I heard from Eddie when he was talking to a bunch of agents about the process of using the magic binder and actually just meeting a client out at a property. Well, most of the places back in the day, we taught people, hey, you don't just go meet anybody at the property. You want to find out if they've been pre-approved or they're working with somebody, blah, blah, blah. You basically asking them for the blood type and the firstborn social security number, right? But Eddie was like, no, let's just go meet them at the house, right? And then there we can strike up the rapport necessary to then get them as a client. And it was so simple, and it makes a lot of sense because many of the people that you're talking to, they have no idea even how this process works. So when you just start by interrogating me about, am I working with an agent? Have I been pre-approved? I don't even know what you're talking about. I just want to go see the house.
I have a good story for that one.
Oh,
I
okay.
always tell everyone, don't judge the book by its cover.
Sure.
I had a listing and I had this couple called me and they said, hey, we're interested in this house. But I already had it under contract. I told them, I'm sorry, this one's under contract, but I can help you, purchase another house. And they're like, yeah, but every realtor that we call, they always just say, oh, no, we can't help you. They hang up, because they don't know how to use the phone or their internet or anything. I'm like, no, don't worry. I'll go to your house and I'll fill out the application with you. I'll help you through it. And they're like, oh, really? You would do it? They were so surprised that I was willing to do it. So they gave me the address. I go, I'm knocking in the front door and they're like, no, he lives in the back house. It was like a little tiny house and it was just him and his wife.
Okay.
And I go in there, and I'm helping them fill out the application and I'm asking them, okay, this is how much you're going to need for down payment and all this stuff. And he starts laughing and tells the wife, do I have that money for the down payment? And she starts laughing. She's like, Nancy, we can buy this house cash. We have about $600,000.
Wow.
And he owned about 10 properties.
Really?
Yes. But
they
he
were
lived in
living
that
in the
rental, in the back little house rental.
Wow.
Yes. And that client has brought me so many people. I mean, I was able to, they bought it cash. I mean, they're like, you know what? I don't think I want to finance it. I'll buy it. And I was already helping them fill out the application.
Right.
He's like, no, we want to buy it cash. But, they've bought investment properties and they've, referred me to a lot of people because I was willing to go.
You took the time.
I took the time to go out there. And I was already busy, but I took the time to go and help them. I just, I love helping people.
And I think that's a common theme for the agents that we've talked to who are very highly successful like yourself. There's a heart to this as well. So it's not just about the money. And in fact, you've made enough money to where you can make decisions not based on money.
Yes.
And because of that, I think more money comes. It's almost like it's almost like you can't turn it off now because you are now doing really what you've been called to do. You're helping people. You're helping people create wealth. You're helping people create a legacy that'll live past them. You're doing some really good things, and you have a very good the Hispanic market too, which had long been kind of ignored or not properly taken care of. Well, you've come in. You're kind of the standard bearer for, hey, no. If we it's almost like not only you're going to take care of this whole community, but you're not going to just give them in Target service, it's like you giving them the
Oh,
full
yes,
thing. You giving them
yes.
Gucci,
Yes.
basically, right? They're like walking into the Gucci store. They might be buying a $200,000 house, but you're gonna treat it like,
yeah.
hey, it's you're gonna get the same level that $1 million person gets.
Yes, you treat everyone the same.
Yeah, and but you'd be surprised how many people don't do that.
I know.
Right.
I mean, when they told me they said they reached out about to 8 agents, 9 agents, and no one wanted to help them.
Yeah.
When he said, I don't know how to use I don't have an email, because that's
Right.
what he told me. He's like, I don't have an email because I was going to send them the application. I'm like, oh, no, don't worry.
Yeah.
You know, because my parents were like that.
Sure.
I helped my parents do everything when I was younger.
Gotcha.
So I feel like that's why I like to help, because my parents went through that, and I wouldn't want anybody else just, to get ignored.
Absolutely. And again, that's why, and a lot of people want people to think, okay, yeah, I'll get on the soapbox. But one of the reasons diversity is so important
Yes.
is because there are so many people, there's so many opportunities out there that wouldn't come to a successful end without having a diverse enough group of people working with you to make sure that these diverse groups are taken care of. And when diverse groups are taken care of, that's more for the whole, right?
Yes, yes.
And why certain people, certain companies, folks don't understand that is beyond me. It's beyond me,
Yes.
right? But, there are companies that do understand. Look, Monument Realty, we've never been one that had to be, there's some companies that had to learn that diversity was something that needed to happen. They had to create task force to figure out how we're going to be diverse all of a sudden, right? But, that's not been the case here. We invite everybody. We want
yes.
everybody.
That's something that I love about Monument.
Absolutely.
I didn't have that at my other brokerage.
Sure.
I didn't have help from anyone.
Right.
I tell all these agents that are doing the sales, I'm like, y'all are so lucky.
Right.
Like, y'all get to do this program. I had to learn on my own.
Sure.
YouTube helped me. My first contract, I had no idea what I was doing. And thank God it was my cousin, because it was my first time showing houses, because I started as a listing agent.
Sure.
And I didn't even know how to open the doors.
The key box and all
the key
that,
box, and her husband was helping me. Like, it was bad, because I didn't have that training.
Sure.
And I learned everything on my own. Like, my first contract for her, I had purchased a house 2 years before, and I went through all my paperwork and finding the contract, because school doesn't teach you everything.
No. School gets you enough to get your license, but
that's
right.
it. So I went through my contract, and I literally copied
from
my contract to that one, and
right.
and I made sure everything was good, and I sent it. And my first contract was handwritten.
Oh wow!
Yes,
Wow.
because I didn't know what I didn't know about SIP forms.
Right. None of that stuff. Right.
Because the broker just said, yes, get your license signed. I mean, that's it.
All right.
So it was handwritten, and my lender, at the time, Vicky, she actually went through it. She's like, oh my God, you did really good, but it's handwritten. Right. I'm like, I know. I didn't know. So I just learned, on my own. I feel like that's why I learned more, because I will research everything before I did it.
Sure.
And I always tell everyone, you fake it till you make it.
Right.
When people will call me and I didn't know the answer, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My kid's school is calling me. I'll call you right back. But I'll look for the answer and I'll call it back. This is how it is. You fake it till you make it.
Right.
Especially for new agents. Like,
Sure.
You just have to research. Don't expect everyone to just give you the answer. You research and look it up. And
well, yeah, and the big thing at Monument Realty, they have the training, they have the leadership infrastructure. So even if you're finished with the training, but you still have a question, you can pick up the phone and call somebody, get your question answered.
I didn't have that at all.
Yeah, and most people don't.
Yeah.
And I think, we talked about this too before we even got started. Just most people don't really look at this as creating a business of their own. Now, you did from the very beginning, right? But so when they look at things like commission splits or cap, how much do I pay to the brokerage, the thinking is of the non-business person is, well, I want to keep all my money. I just want to pay as little as possible. And
you don't get nothing.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, let's think of this more like a business person, right? Yeah. Business people make investments in their business for a return on investment. So if you're not investing anything in your business, you should not expect a return on that zero investment. Now, so if you are going to invest, make sure you go to a place where that investment will produce a return. So if you are paying a split or you're paying a cap, you want to go somewhere where what you pay produces something for you. And so it's not a question of not wanting to or not doing it. It's just where is the investment made that turns around and gives you a proper return.
Yeah, and that's something that I really liked about Monument, that they had the training, you know, all the agents in my group, I trained them myself.
Sure.
You know, I was really busy.
Right.
And I was still, you know, meeting them at Starbucks, helping them with their first contract or going to the listing appointments with them.
Right.
Like, I was training them myself. When Eddie told me, oh, no, you know, we have this program, I'm like, oh, my God.
Right.
He's like, I can't believe you've been doing it all on your own, you know.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what you do.
That's what I did, yeah.
And so the cool thing, too, is so then you're able to now come to a place like Monument with all the fantastic partnerships and you can leverage all of that for your, not just yourself, but for your team. And so it was kind of a, you know, when because people ask me, well, why would Nancy come over there? She was already doing everything. She didn't have to pay much at that other place. I was like, so Nancy's a businesswoman.
Yes, I knew I needed a change.
Right. Right. That's all right. Yeah. So, and I was like, she's a businesswoman, so she's making a business decision. And so this business decision makes sense for her to do it. And so that's the case with all the people who've come over. So I'm always, again, I'm always amazed, but people need to do what's best for them. But one of the cool things about Nancy being with us, Nancy was also brought on in the capacity of a talent acquisition specialist too. So as Monument continues to grow, we're always looking for positive, productive, professional people to join us. And so if you ever need, you've been thinking about, hey, I might need to be looking at something else, Nancy is the person you need to contact. She can help talk to you about it and kind of figure out if this is the, you know, what you need to do, or if you need to continue where you are or go do something else. I'm sure she'll be glad to tell you what she thinks. And so, Nancy, do you have any contact information if somebody wants to reach out to you?
Yes, my Instagram is CYTY Real Estate, and that's for my Instagram and Facebook.
Nancy TY.
Nancy TY. So it's, you see Nancy.
Right, I see. I like that. I like that.
I wanted to keep it somewhere.
Sure,
like City.
sure.
And also my group page is CYTY Real Estate Group too.
CYTY Real Estate, and that's CYTY.
CYTY.
Very good. Well, Nancy, this has been really fun. This is really good.
This is my first podcast, and it was...
Yeah, and I'm amazed that this is your first podcast. So now you'll be on everybody's podcast. So I will be able to say she was here first though, yes, right? Yes. Right. And so this is really good. We appreciate it. We look forward to having you back sometime. I think you gave some really good... In fact, before we even leave, if you brand new agent in the business and, you know, they come to you, Nancy, hey, what's the one piece of advice you would give me? What would that be?
I mean, just work hard and do open houses. I mean, social media. My big thing is social media. Be active on social media. You know, remind people that you're in real estate. Don't just, you know, and keep it personal too. Sure. Don't just post real estate because they will get bored and unfollow you.
That's right.
So keep it personal and business and work hard.
Very good.
Every day, because I work every day.
You work every day. Work hard every day. But here's the thing. So, yeah, she works hard every day. But when she's not working hard, she's playing pretty hard. Yeah, she's extra. That's right. She's extra. Well, y'all, we appreciate you all hanging out with us and listening today. By all means, if you like the episode, please like it, subscribe, let everybody know about it. But Nancy Garcia, this is one of the best in the business, and we appreciate you hanging out with us today.
Thank
all right.
you.
Thanks so much.